Lynn Castles Caldwell, and I'm a horse photographer. We're shooting today at the Carp Fair in Carp, Ontario, Canada, one of Canada's largest draft horse shows. And I'm using my new Fuji XT-2. I've only had it a couple of weeks. Really like the camera a lot. And the equipment I've got going with it here, the XT2 body, I've got the vertical grip booster, and I'm using the boost feature. And the lens I'm using is the 50 to 140 2.8. The camera's been extremely good. I'm very happy with the autofocus. I tend to shoot individual frames. I don't shoot in burst rate very often because with horse photography you need to have a specific leg position of the horses. The exhibitor won't be interested unless the legs are in a certain position. So for me to shoot in burst mode, I'm throwing out an awful lot of photos, and I want the customer to see their horse in the best possible way. So far the Fuji's been working extremely well. So I have been a Canon shooter since the 1990s with professional film cameras, and then switched to digital in 2004. So I come from using the 1D series, and I have been since 2012 using the 5D Mark III. Fabulous camera, really like it. So I'm comparing now the Canon experience and the Fuji experience, and I'm finding that the Fuji XT2 is doing a wonderful job. It's very comparable to the Canon. Autofocus is accurate. I have more control over the dynamic range. The settings that I'm using the boost on the vertical boost, and I'm using a dynamic range of 200, set to 200. And I have my highlight tone set to -2. It's a very, very bright sunny day here, and we sometimes lose the highlights. We want to keep the detail in the highlights if we can. And the rest of my kit is the cotton carrier, which is great for keeping the camera balanced on the body and keeps my hands free. I have to wear the camera for long hours because I shoot in the center of the ring. And we're going to go shoot pictures right now and put the Fuji through its paces. Have the pictures in the computer now from Carp Fair. As I mentioned, this fair is one of the largest draft horse shows in Canada. There are hundreds of draft horses here. We shoot both line pictures where the horse is judged on its conformation, such as what you see here, and there are many hitching classes from single horse, double horse, triple horses, 4, 6, and even 8 horse hitches. So I mentioned earlier that I prefer not to shoot in burst mode because I have to throw away so many pictures. Only a certain position of the horse's legs is going to be what the owner of the horse wants to see. So we'll take a look here. This is a series of pictures showing what burst mode looks like. There's only one picture here that's actually sellable. We'll take a quick look through here, and this one is not. You see the legs of the horse are going out in front, they're straight. These are high action horses. This is not what they want to see. This one is kind of getting there, but the knee of the horse is not high enough. This one is sellable. We've got the horse's knee right up about as high as it can go. The front leg on the other side is straight. The inside hind leg is coming forward to step under the horse. This is what this type of showing is what the exhibitor wants to see in their photos. This one, very awkward looking. The legs are bent all over the place. This one has the inside leg coming forward. Again, awkward. The horse looks a bit downhill. This one's not too bad. The inside leg is up. It's very high, but it doesn't really show off the length of the neck or the shoulder of the horse the way the other picture did. This one, again, legs are not elevated. They're not going to be interested. And this is a little bit too soon, a little bit before the ideal leg position. So of all those photos, really only one is sellable. So I shoot by using a technique where I have the autofocus trained on the horse, and I shoot when I see that leg up. So this is a series of shots where you can see that leg is up in every shot. The customer sees their horse looking at the best. This is what they want to see. I don't have to throw any of them away. And they have a variety to choose from. There'll be little variations in the stride of the horse. They can pick out what they like to see the best. We also have multiple hitches with we have multiple horses on a wagon. And this is a series that I shot in burst mode to show what the legs look like. They prefer to see the horses traveling together equally, so the legs need to match together. This one, not too bad, but we have the inside leg and the outside leg up at the same time. It's better if they're matched. You can see here, as I go through the pictures, they're not matched right together, and all of these pictures would have to be thrown away, and the customer is not going to be interested in buying any of them. So I shoot in the single frame, and I look for the legs when they're up. This is what the exhibitor wants to see, the legs matching. It's hard to catch. I've been doing this for a lot of years, but I can do it, and I don't waste a lot of pictures. I don't waste a lot of frames, and the customer is happy. We also have multiple hitches in larger numbers of horses. We'll just show you some of those. These are difficult pictures to get. You see all 4 horses have the legs up, and these are hard. I can do it with a camera that has a fast enough autofocus. The Fuji is really doing a good job. Here's another one, different breed. The first breed was a Clydesdales. These are Belgians. I also use it for single horses that are not in a harness. These are judged on how they look and how they're built. Again, they want that outside leg to be up and forward. That's for these particular breeds. Not every breed wants this leg position. So every show I go to, I have to be aware of that. Here's another horse with the single shot with that leg up. Look at the beautiful dynamic range in these. The black horse with a light background on a really bright sunny day. The Fuji nails it, just doing a really, really good job. Again, this is a pretty dark horse, and often in my Canon files, I would see the white legs blown right out. But I've got detail down in those legs, and it's doing a really good job for me. The autofocus is fast, it's accurate, very comparable to the 5D Mark III. There's no blackout time in the viewfinder. I use the EVF. Here's a unicorn hitch, 3 horses together, and again, they like to see the pictures with all the legs up at the same time. It's hard to get, but it is possible, and you don't have to shoot on burst. But it's nice to have a camera that can do large numbers of burst. The 8 or 11 frames a second is great. it usually means the camera is fast and accurate in its autofocus if it can do that. I use the continuous setting for all of these, and I toggled between using zone and single shot, a single point mode. It was worked very well in both. So I'm very happy with the Fuji. Here's an 8-horse hitch. Um, Beautiful Percheron horses. These are the black ones. And you can see how here again the legs are all up. The customer's going to be happy with that. So overall, the Fuji did a really good job. Quite pleased with it, and I'm going to keep using it. I like the dynamic range. I like the autofocus accuracy, and being able to shoot in this style with the EVF having no lag. All of the high-end Canon cameras that I've used do have a little bit of a lag. It's not much. It can be milliseconds, but it's there. So you have to time your shots very, very carefully. With the Fuji, there really is no lag in the viewfinder. I see the picture that I'm getting. With no mirror in the camera, there's no blackout. With the Canon cameras, when the mirror goes up, I don't actually see the shot. I know pretty close what it's going to be. I wait for that leg to come up. That's my cue for shooting, is that front leg coming up, the knee bending, and I don't see that actual shot because the mirror flips up. In the Fuji, it's so fast, the EVF rate is very high, and I can see that shot. So what I see is what I get when I shoot. So I'm very happy. This is a different way of shooting, I know, for a lot of people, but it's something to consider if you're thinking about moving to the Fuji. It's capable of doing this. So just to wrap up my experience with my new Fuji XT-2, the camera performed extremely well in comparison to the Canon system that I'm used to. It's been wonderful. Some of the settings that I used, first of all, I shot all JPEGs. The Fuji XT2 produces just beautiful JPEGs. Very pleased with the results. For standing horse pictures like this, I use the single point with the single shot mode. For action, I used the continuous mode in both the single point and the zone mode. Both of them worked equally well. I kind of preferred the single point mode in the 3x3 box. Could also go bigger. In the zone mode, if I had black horses with a very light or almost white background, the zone mode, the little green focus boxes would hunt a little bit. That was the only time I saw really any hunting. So the single point mode didn't really do that. It was very consistent all around. The film simulation that I used was the Provia. And in this case, I didn't really want the really saturated colors of the Velvia, but that is also a very nice film simulation to use. They're all very good. To have that choice in shooting, to have beautiful film choices from a company that knows film so well, it is a really, really good thing to have. The dynamic range was really important for this shoot because we had such strong sunlight and a lot of dark subjects as well. So I set the dynamic range at 200, and the highlight tone was at -2 because I wanted to preserve details in the highlights. And too often you get a dark subject with a bright background and the Canon would the sky would be white. So this preserves detail. And you can see here this beautiful champion. This was the supreme champion of the show. the detail has been preserved. You can see all of the stitching even in the leather here, down in the white legs of the Clydesdale. Look at all the fine hair, the subtle shadings in the white, showing the bone structure of the horse. And also the sky is showing lots of detail with those clouds in the sky. I shot the performance pictures at speed priority, about 1/1000th of a second, occasionally 800th of a second at about 500 ISO. It varied, of course, as the light changed during the day. So coming from the Canon system, from using high-end Canons, the 1D series, the 5D Mark III, originally bought the Fuji to be a backup for my 5D Mark III. I wanted something smaller and lighter, but it had to have the same image quality, and it had to have the autofocus abilities because of the style of shooting that I use. I've got to have really accurate autofocus. The Fuji keeps up. The XT-2 has proven itself at this event, and it's going to be a big part of my kit in the future. Here's a picture shot on the Acros black and white setting. Here's a black horse that's shiny. This is hard for a lot of cameras to catch. And look at the beautiful detail, the detail in the highlights. Again, the stitching in the leather, just gorgeous. Here's the hairs on the ears, just beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed my review of the Fuji XT-2. If you get a chance to use one, I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a lighter system that has quality of image files and autofocus abilities, I'm very pleased that I chose to use the Fuji. Thanks for watching.